Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. We're still very much in the election season. In fact, it's like mopping up. Some states that had been declared inconclusive, well, we're sort of getting to the bottom of that. We're going to begin to look into, all these matters. My guest this morning, first of all, Dr. Fassi Yusuf, a lawyer and communications expert. Thank you, Dr. Fassi, for coming on.
My pleasure.
Indeed, indeed. And Mr. Adewale Ayodele, who is a political affairs analyst. He's also a politician, in addition to being a member of the ruling party, just to put the political affairs analyst in perspective. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Indeed. There we are, all what you call declared. Fassi is apolitical. He's not a member of any political party. He's merely an analyst. I don't know, the word merely is obsolete. Just don't take the word merely out. Now, anxiety, let me start with you, Fassi. We're still anxious about these elections. The newspapers are full of it. Anxiety in Benue, Kano, Bauchi, ahead of the polls, for example, runoffs, APC, PDP, woo voters with money, gifts. So we're still very, very, very much in that mood. Yesterday, we spent a lot of time on the situation in Rivers State and the fact that, well, quite frankly, a lot of people were in a double mind about whether or not we should have soldiers attend our elections. Arguments were made for and against, but here we are, we have this environment that we have. People will do the improbable, by which I mean just, quote unquote, kidnapping a ballot box and running with it, and it's in broad daylight, and all network cameras are rolling. It doesn't matter. So people have suggested that, look, a desperate ailment requires a desperate cure. So you're going to have to excuse us in the case of Rivers State. Give me your perspectives on that. Since you went here, and I'd like to have your perspective on this whole matter about Rivers. Can it be done without military?
You see, Rivers State, like most other parts of Niger Delta, is a volatile region, a lot of insurgency. Don't forget that it took political maneuvering on the part of the late President Yaradua to be able to disarm them. And there can never be any complete disarmament. Rather, some will still, you can have a shipload of arms and sink that ship. You will not see them, the arms on the surface, but they are buried down there. And with all the mangrove forests you have here and there and all the rest, and the people haven't been exposed to, the region of Isigboro, they could prepare homemade bombs and what have you. Remember what happened during the Civil War. So it's not a region that you can just toy with. And no government that is alive to its responsibility will take the military away from the Niger Delta. And don't forget that we have our critical installations there. The economic knife center of the country is around that region, and therefore they must be protected. And the first target will be to destroy the economic nerves of this country if anything goes wrong. And therefore, politics is all about interest. The interests of the players are there, and they are trying to meet their own interests. And if anything threatens their interest, they will do anything to capture that interest or to recapture that interest. And therefore, it will be inappropriate, and it will be foolhardy for anybody to suggest that the military should even lead that region. In America, they will not do that. The United States will not do that. You will see the United States going as far as Haiti. Fiji Island, North Korea, South Korea. So you can imagine the distance between the Korean Peninsula to America, and yet America is getting involved. It's all about interest. So you cannot expect the Nigerian government now to fold his arm, leave the military out of this thing. It's not possible. And the police are always overwhelmed.
Exactly. This point was made copiously yesterday. Mr. Adili, what do you think? Because of what Fassi has said, if you endorse any of that or most of it, does it mean that we're going to have to be satisfied with what we can get out of the Rivers State environment, by which I mean democratically. Democracy is what it is. And he spoke about interest. So whose interest? Is it the interest of the entire society beyond Rivers State, where we want to say that we are practicing democracy in Nigeria and democratic tenets prevail? It looks like because of these very interests, and as Fasi put it, people are, want to go to any extent necessary. Are we going to have to be surprised with this compromised democracy?
Well, as I try to tilt to what he said, but again, I quickly look at some societies of the world where they have almost 100% peace. A society where you can hardly find any police, quote and unquote, police in the area. It's a system where...
No, we're talking about military.
I'm sinking it down. Sure. It's a system where government have actually touched the life of people. Now, you have a region, I've been issued for a very long time because he mentioned Isaac Boro. The struggle of Boro was the struggle to have an egalitarian society, government having an impact in their society and all of that. Now, when you have a society where life becomes meaningless, you start to have a banana republic. And that is what the Buhari administration is trying to redirect. No matter how you militarize the area, they will try to conform with the system in order to survive. What is needed in that region is for government to make life very meaningful. Basic infrastructures have to be put in place. You have to create energy. You have to provide employment, either directly by the government or indirectly by the people themselves.
Yes, but this has to be done by the people themselves, not from outside.
If the people are to do this, that is why I said basic infrastructures must be put in place. Take, for instance, there's a place called Bonny Island, where you have the oil companies creating an environment that is so unique. Why can't you espouse or expand that environment to look the same in the totality of the Niger Delta? If you do that, I can assure you that nobody will lift arms. Life becomes very meaningful. Nobody wants to swim in the dirty water. Neither do anybody want to die an untimely death. Everybody wants to live a quality life. The lack of quality of life is what you are seeing today. And no matter how you put boots on the ground, put arms everywhere, the people will learn to live with it and combat it and become convenient and confront it.
Because they're still agitating for, well, it seems almost like self-determination.
Excuse me. While I agree with my colleague that government must be alive to this responsibility, the citizenry, especially in the Niger Delta, is not doing much to help the situation. Just last week or 2 weeks ago, Professor Dokubo, the special advisor to the president on the amnesty program, showed to the whole world what the people they destroyed, what they got for them, what billions of naira. They burned them, they destroyed them, simply because they were not given the contract or because of some other interest. You see, we must as a nation decide for ourselves. When we talk about government, who is government? And those there derive their legitimacy through us, and they are representing us, and we must assist them to grow. Not that we vandalize public property, we destroy things that there are some people there just sitting idle. I'm in a position to know because my mother is from there, and I grew up there. My mother is from Niger Delta. So I'm in a position to tell you what is happening there. And I'm saying that most of the boys there are not helping issues. And most of them are lovers. And I say this with authority.
But all of this is coming from within.
Yes, within.
You see, it's not from outside of the place. And when we talk here about...
I'm sure your father worrying on the carry last.
Yeah, worrying on the carry last. Yes, exactly. But all of this is from inside there. And when we talk about governance not being delivered to the people, who is to deliver that? No outsider is contesting with them. They're all Riverians.
Yes,
they're all.
Most of them are perpetually at war with themselves. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, you need an outside that.
So they're not fighting against any force trying to prevent any of the things that you gentlemen are talking about.
We are saying, I mean, rightly that the government, the constitution is not to their favor, and it's not doing anything to assist them, because they are laying the golden eggs, and therefore they deserve more than they are getting.
And this is not a position that is...
Nigeria is deviated from fiscal federalism to unitary system of government, whereas we are supposed to be a federal system. Right now, what we are practicing is unitary. It's very sad.
So somehow all of this now...
Amalgamation of all this.
All of this now goes into the mentality, are you saying, of that whole area that sort of prevents...
They're agitated. They're agitated.
They're agitated.
Yes.
And so the authorities, especially the security authorities, now knowing the river state as a black spot kind of a place.
There are leaders there. The governors there. They are part of the problem of the Niger Delta. Because, let's be sincere with ourselves. They are the people sponsoring some of these boys. You remember of late, I was on this program, the same thing I said, as a lawyer. And you have at least 2 lawyers as governors in the Niger Delta. They came up to say, to be defending somebody. And they were bringing primordial sentiments. So if you now have governors saying that people should go against the law of the land, or perhaps they should revolt, are they conspirators? Don't the military development executed? Summarily.
But now we're in a political time.
We're in a political time, but they should not be seen to be...
And we are professing democracy.
Yes, and they should not be seen to be using their people against the rest of this country. At least two of them are lawyers. At least 2 of them are lawyers. And they should know better.
Oh, you mean 2 of the governors?
Yes.
2 of the
at least 2 of the 6 governors are lawyers.
But we have today, we have Governor Wike in place. APC doesn't have a particular...
I don't want to talk about Wike. It's something else. It's something else. Because it's been a product of that system. Chairman of local government, chief of staff to Amishi, Minister of State, and now also all manners of statements that should not even emanate from a councillor.
Because he Mr. Ayodele, he talks about it being permanent PDP territory, political.
That's not the permanent politics.
Politicians will spin that. This is politicians in election season, especially, are like boxers.
There's no ideology in Nigerian politics. There's no ideology. There's no ideology. It's interest.
But what interest? Whose interest?
Personal interest.
Well, that is a problem that goes beyond River State.
Yes.
That's not just rivers. Okay. Do those same sentiments, do they continue when we go to other areas? Speaking about anxiety, for instance, as INEC is about to collate results, for instance, in Kano, I understand. Is it this same distrust or mistrust of those who are being running affairs? Why tensions are this high? People wondering, for instance, if the elections that were inconclusive, now we're going to be collating today before we continue where necessary with supplementary elections. When newspaper reports say, look, there's anxiety, there's palpable anxiety on the ground, is it that we ourselves as the voters, the electorate, we hardly trust the system? Well, in some areas, we all say that, we're very happy with that. We thank INEC, we credit INEC. But in other areas, sometimes INEC is quite lonely because it's being bashed by the opposition, it's being bashed by the ruling parties.
Well, those are political intrigues when you say INEC is being bashed by who. But I think the political parties and the people themselves must be very calculative. No matter how the tension has risen, they must see it like a boxing match. In a boxing match, you don't fight with emotion. You calculate very well in order to score point or knock out your opponent.
It's a game of numbers anyway.
If you equate it, getting your point is about numbers, hitting the right target. The issue is there is always result sheet, you understand, at every polling unit.
Okay.
No matter how people tend to throw up propaganda, I would rather prefer the political parties gather all of their result sheets from all the polling units and collate it. That is why they have situation centers. Now, even if INEC decide to do the otherwise, the unthinkable, you understand, the judicial system is there. You go seek redress. We've seen it time in, time out, where people have been cheated. They went through the full-fledged of the judicial system. They reclaimed back their mandate. Example is Osun State. It took several efforts. The mandate was reclaimed. Governor Agbeshola was installed. And of course, he carried out a people's-oriented programs. So if I am any candidate of any political party, I wouldn't join the fray of people who are backing all over the place. I'll put my eyes on the ball and, of course, follow the process.
Where people should be focused and single-minded.
Definitely.
Well, the problem is, I don't know, one doesn't want to be too pedantic about this. I don't know, sometimes we talk about the orientation agency, that we need a national orientation. So because what came to my mind was, what exactly are we focused on? Are we focused on the right thing? Because look at all the time we spent in the run-up to the election in the first instance. All the members of the political parties coming together to sign an IOU, we will accept the results, we will not incite the public, etc., etc. We did all of that.
I told you they were playing to the gallery at that time. Because even if the president agreed, or the presidential candidates agreed, how would they be able to tell their candidates? You know, there are some that won't overact. They cry more than they bereaved. Otherwise, why should somebody die in the process of defending a political party when he knows that life has no duplicate? If he dies, that's the end.
Well, passions run high.
Passion to the extent that
people are not thinking logically
snatch a ballot
in the heat of passion.
And meet your death in the process.
Because I would have thought it's suicidal.
That's Banana Republic.
I would have thought it's suicidal to do that, but people still did.
Yes, they would do it at any time, any day. When you talk about interest, you know, the interest there is trying to defend what they stand for or what they stand to gain. Now, you're having an inconclusive election in a particular state. It is either me or you. The issue has been narrowed down to two personalities. So those in support of personality A will do anything to have it because they know that they stand to gain a lot. And those in support of personality B will do anything to carry the day. So it's a thin line, and that thin line is what they're trying to get at. So you will not blame them, especially when you look at the Nigerian situation, where politics is a very lucrative business, and ordinarily it should be an avenue to serve the society and mankind. But what we find in Nigeria is an avenue to serve our stomach and to serve our family members, especially and our friends. You remember one of the presidential candidates said he was going to sell NNPC to his friends, well, which he later tried to
sort of tone down.
Tone down and others. But generally, Nigerian politics, especially in developing economies, that is what we have, which is very sad. You see somebody leaving office in developed climes, and it becomes just one of us. But once you assume office as a governor in Nigeria, as a senator, as a president, your life has changed completely. Your family, your children, everything around you, about you has changed. And therefore, it's only in this country that you see people who contest as a senator or as a rep member, and they are not elected, and yet they be called honorable. My senator, my governor. And yet you are not elected as governor, and the people will be calling you governor. So you get swollen-headed. And you do anything to be there. And they worship you, they glorify you. So our orientation must change. The national organization, as far as I'm concerned, is not doing anything. It should be scrapped. It's a burden to us. It's a burden to us.
Okay. TOCHUKWU in ABA, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I so much love this program, and I have been following it up for a very long time. I don't know if I may say my mind. I don't know why the efforts of the ruling party are targeted on these few oil producing states, River State and Akwa Ibom, and from other states. But the way things are happening, these people are, as the lawyer said in the office, these people are so self-centered. They are all doing this for their own selfish interests. They're using the youth to commit more crimes. They're using the soldiers to kill people unnecessarily. They need to do something on this thing because the River State, I don't know why Amechi and the ruling party from Wike are keep rumbling and fighting over nothing. And they are all the same. They have to do something to correct this impression, and we need to move on. Elections have come and gone. This inconclusiveness in our electoral part, they should do it peacefully, and we should move on. People have died a lot. Even it also happened in Imo State. So many people died, but they won't even talk about people that died. You just move on. It's wrong. I've been following this program. I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Thank you for calling.
I think I should just correct that impression. I'm not a PDP or APC member. I don't belong to any political party in this country. But the point must be made. What is said should be corrected because neither the president nor APC has come out to tell us that, look, we must get APC at all costs or we must get Akwa Ibom at all costs. Okay, there could be personalities, there could be individuals within the party because of what they stand for. Amechi, yes, he doesn't want to be disgraced. Senator, the former governor of Akwa Ibom State.
Yeah, but APC doesn't have a horse in the race.
No, what I'm saying, the governor there, the former governor.
Okay.
Also, the present governor is his mentee. The former governor is his mentee. And the governor of River State, the present governor, is a mentee of Rotimi Amechi. So you can look at you can know the interest. So if you now say, one of my boys, now dictating the tune there, and telling me I cannot do this, I cannot do that. What? I just a boy I brought up. I will deal with him. So you can see the personality clash emanating from these zones. It's not that of the party.
So it goes back to what I said at the beginning about it's an unsatisfactory situation that since very little changes between one day and the next, we're going back to this orientation thing that you spoke about, but the lack of it is what we are contending with now. And that's why I started by saying that, hey guys, don't we have a situation here where we're just going to have to manage that we're going to have to get the best that we can out of that situation, knowing full well that we can't get what you get in other places?
The orientation is there.
It is there.
It is there. We will only be lying to ourselves that we don't have enough orientation. Beyond the National Orientation Agency, civil societies and some other religious groupings have tried as much as possible to put a lot of orientation out there. I think what should be done is that security operatives need to up their game.
You see, when you say the orientation is there,
yes.
All these things that I've been hearing about, that have been
the dominant TV that is being watched in the South is more of TVC, for your information. Beyond the fact that they have NTA and other stations there. And readily you pour out a lot of orientation programs in order to redirect people.
Excuse me, I forgot. I've been told that Timothy in IBAFO is on the line. Good morning, Timothy.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to our guests.
Good morning.
The issue there is, I would like to come from this angle. I would like all those people in charge of the peace accord to just take it to themselves, calling Rotimi Amechi and Governor Wike in settling their issue amicably. Number one, APC is not on the ballot. PDP is on the ballot. And APC has adopted the candidate of the AAC. I don't think there's any issue why this just done to another thing. This is just the politics. And I think these politicians have taken it upon themselves to take charge no matter what, not even thinking of anything that is coming as an effort of the citizen. Most of them doesn't go there because of the interest of serving the citizen, just for their own interest and to get everything they want at their power. Let Abdul Salam and all these councils of state chiefs, let them just settle things, and instead of killing, turning election to another things, I think they're all allowed to look into it and settle it amicably within themselves. Thank you, sir.
Indeed. Thank you very much for calling in.
Yori,
Yes.
Yori, please let me just come in. You see, what is happening there is about relevance and supremacy.
Power.
Relevance and supremacy. Until some of them are tried for war crimes or for crimes against humanity. You see, this country will not know peace because our politicians, they are foolhardy with profound respect to some of them that are very clean. It is all about relevance and supremacy. Why must it be there at all cost? Why must there be bloodletting? Because you want to grab power, or because you want to be relevant, because you want to show that you are superior to the other person?
Well, that's what politics is all about.
No.
It is.
It's all about service.
Well,
it's all about service.
Yeah, on the one hand. But it's also about power.
It's not about supremacy.
It's also about getting
It's not about
power
supremacy. It's not about relevance.
legitimately.
Listen, in America, that we are trying to emulate, somebody got a higher vote,
Yes.
and yet did not get in there, and even did not fall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in Nigeria,
That's because there's the absence of a do or die mentality.
that's what I'm
over
saying.
there.
That once you are not talking about superiority, you are not talking about relevance at all costs,
Yeah.
then sensibility will come in.
Okay. Dominic, good morning. Thank you for calling in. Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Yuri. How are you?
Good morning, Reverend. Thank you very much.
Good morning to your two wonderful guests this morning.
Good morning.
Let me correct impression of the caller before this one, TOCHUKWU. If I don't know how old he is, since 1979 I become politically conscious in Nigeria. River State election is always a crisis within election. Number one, in those days, remember, River State and Bayelsa is the same one state in 1979. But before the election or voting, the results are out. If not, I know that in those days, there's no election in River State. What they do, the Godfathers manipulate the number and give to us. If you know the Sarai, the Bayelsa, and the River State, I don't know why the River State election will come first before Imo or Lagos, but just they used to come first. One thing is that from the days immemorial, if I can use that word, that become a violent area in election. And those days, remember, we still have people who have good consciousness in politics, common sense. But today, common sense has thrown to the wind. Number two, any man that dies in Nigeria, I will not sympathize with him. I'm a preacher. I don't know why I should die for your if you want to be a governor of Lagos State. You're my friend, I died for you. Why would I see you govern Lagos State? Anyone that died for election here should be buried shamefully. Yori, number three, please, Yori, I want you to highlight the interview of the INEC chairman. If anybody listens to INEC chairman, he's weeping and lamenting that if things continue this way, 100 years in Nigeria will go this cycle because it's too big to conduct the nation. The paper, the printed, the master that if you spread in the whole of Nigeria, they will come to the whole Nigeria. The cost is too much. The space is too much. If weight is upon the INEC, there's no way INEC will do the magic to expect them if we don't have a discussion. Please highlight that interview. If you can have a discussion in political process, in the election process, so we can have it better. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you very much for calling in. And also for recalling the, somebody referred to it on our program yesterday, the humongous obligation or responsibility before INEC, the humongous, what is the word now? Having to organize this all across the country, and it's not really INEC alone. And INEC has complained that, look, the politicians, our main constituency in these exercises, they themselves are the worst problems that we have. They are not making anything easy. They're just not conforming. You can only plan based on the fact that everybody knows the rules, but INEC seems to have indicated, and Dominic was referring to it, that we are fighting in a we are doing our job in a very, very hostile terrain. Mainly the key players themselves are almost like the enemies of the process. That's a problem. That's a fact.
Well, the politicians could behave as they want, regardless of the fact that there's a rule of law and all of that. And I keep saying that we should stop hiding. We should stop hiding behind one finger. You have four interests in this whole scenario. You have the INEC, that is the umpire. You have the political parties, you have the security, and you have the people. Now, out of the four, the one that has the most job to do is the security, to provide an enabling environment for this process to take place. INEC is doing a perfect job. Now, the politicians, because of temper and some irregularities within their streams, some of them could go out of way. It is for us to have a security system that is decisive, regardless of who you are. If the security system is not decisive, or the operatives are not decisive, and they keep obnobbing, you are going to continue to have a repetition of all of what we're doing, and people will not conform to law. Don't be quick to forget that even in most of these higher climb that you think are near perfect, they also have their problems. But again, their security system, their judicial system is near perfect. Because of that nature in their society, they've been able to whip a lot of people to line. Look at when Donald Trump went to Chicago to campaign. A lot of the people in Chicago refused them. Even the Chicago Police Department had to tell him that they cannot guarantee security and all of that. But again, there's a system that was able to organize everything in place.
And people were ready to cooperate with the system.
They don't need to cooperate with the system.
They don't have a choice.
The system must enforce their cooperation.
Enforcement. Okay, sorry, Fasi, I beg your pardon. Let me bring in Cyprian in ALIMOSHO, Lagos here. Good morning, Cyprian.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. I am happy I got you today. I've been trying to get you for a very long time.
We're happy you got in too. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is our people should try and emulate the way the president goes about his politics. If you look at politics, you shouldn't do it like a do or die affair. If it is for service, it shouldn't be a do or die affair. If your people like you, they vote you in. If they don't like you, they don't vote you in. So the idea of you doing politics, going into people's lives, you make sure people lose their lives because you want to rule, it's not supposed to be so.
Yeah. Well,
that is how it should be. So if you look at what the two gentlemen they are saying, they are on point. I like more especially the former council chairman in this thing. He's on point too. You don't do politics in the form of trying to kill people before you rule them. The way I don't want to call names, but the way the River State government is going about this thing, they are not doing it politically the way they are supposed to do it. It's not supposed to be a do or die affair. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, Cyprian. And what you are saying, along with the gentleman and the need to say it, is an idealistic scenario that they're presenting to us, that this is right. This is the right thing, and this is where we need to be aiming for. Yeah. But on a pragmatic level, we are at our stage of evolution. We are where we are at. Everybody knows that politics should not, as he has said, and you gentlemen have said before him, should not be a do-or-die affair. That is what they would write if it were an examination, so that they would pass.
I conducted a master class on Saturday. I identified 2 issues in the last general elections. Time will be a constraint, and therefore I will not go to them. But the point to be made is this. Why are the states getting higher and higher? In 1999, we didn't see all these problems. It was more or less just what they're asking. Most of these would have contested in 1999, did not get into all this stormy weather. Did not encounter all this stormy, and did not spend much.
What happened?
Because the people knew that they must conduct and comport themselves. Because right now, they believe in God federalism.
Mr. Adeli seems to demur.
I differ from that.
In 1999, that was not much problem.
1999,
not much problems.
With due respect, I differ from that. 1999, there was skepticism whether the elections would take place or not. A lot of the progressive did not take part in that election because they felt it was going to be another 1993 kind of election, where they'll be wasting their time. But we thank God for people like Pa Adesoya, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and their likes that took that bold step of faith that they were going to take part in that process. If they have not taken part in that process, Nigeria would have been worse than Somalia right now. And that is why we challenge a lot of the people from the left that you should have come in at that particular time. So you cannot compare the scenario then and what is happening now. That was the state of whether it will happen or not. And I keep saying, if we want to get it right here in our electoral system, the security operative must be hinged with a sanction. If anybody die in any state, then the CP, the head of the DSS, and the GOC commander will be held responsible.
Okay, well, one moment. Pastor James, thank you very much for holding on. Go ahead, please. Good morning, sir.
I have a piece of advice for the senior physician, like of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Hello?
Please continue.
Yes. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has played a very nice strategy, and he should not allow what he has started in 1999 to be handled by those who just come in, the like of Oshomole, who just left Labour Party to APC, the like of Abechi, among others. All those people are not doing his foundation. They are going to spoil what he has done already. They should question them. This man has suffered a lot in that party. He started it as an AD. I know of it. Now the people who just come want to spoil that party for him. They should call this to notice, because every state APC has a problem with themselves because of those introverts who just came. So please, he should rise up that nobody will spoil his party. That is my own opinion on this man.
All right then. Thank you very much.
You have to convey that to Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu, apparently. And it goes much beyond.
Yes, I was saying,
any one person owning the party.
My colleague here will not agree with me.
Yes.
The stakes are getting higher and higher. I was around in this country when 1965 elections were held, when 1979 elections were held, when 1983 elections were held, 1999, or perhaps I contested in 1992 into the House of Rep in this Lagos. But I've never seen anything like what we're witnessing now. And that's my point, that it's getting worse.
That is the violence and
yes,
the
violence
disregard for the rules.
And all the rest. That's what I'm saying. Some of us have seen it. I mean, some of us in our 60s, we have seen some.
And you think it's worse? And you think it's getting worse?
Yes.
Okay, well, one moment. Mazi OKOROAFOR, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. You're the good one our guest in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This issue we are lamenting every day about this forthcoming election. If our honorables, right from A to Z, they have eradicated this issue of poverty, illiteracy, hunger. All this issue of carrying election box, it will not happen. But what we should know is that there is need for continuity. That is to say, we have to move forward. And for we to move forward, our youth are the major factor we have in this country. And that is why I say asking the youth, anytime I meet them, when they come to come and talk to the youth as an elder, I will ask them now, what is your plan as an individual? What do you have in mind? You want to have your own family, or you want to turn to a dog baby, or like a robot? Every day they do you ping pong, give you 5 naira, you drink and go and say like that. That's it. So what I'm just advising our politicians, Saturday is around the corner. People should go out and vote, and not to see that and be complaining and be lamenting and be saying this and that and that. Continuity is what we need in this country. Not a question of zigzag system. Because for we to move forward, everybody must have his own role to play.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much, Mazi OKOROAFOR. And Mazi, he touched on another thing that we've heard when we talk about elections, especially as we witnessed in this cycle of elections, the seeming voter apathy. The seeming voter apathy. That's a problem pundits got it wrong. They were telling us that, well, the presidential was the way it was. It's going to be different. Our governorship elections are local. Hello, something is going on.
18% in Lagos.
Something is going on. And can it be that flowing against Mazi's advice, people have almost given up? Say, look, this whole system, it doesn't make a difference. This system is so warped, I'm not sure my vote will even count, and so people stay away. Some other people, one gentleman, one person at least called in yesterday to say that what he considered the militarization, meaning soldiers were in evidence of the elections, that just worried him, and he decided to not pay it any mind. In other words, not participate. Is there not a problem here where the young people that Mazi says are crucial to a better tomorrow in terms of how we relate in our society, these people are giving up? Do you think they are giving up? Well, or how else would you explain the apathy that we witnessed?
Well, I would say the apathy thing is a function of some government not performing to expectation. Okay. That is the one angle.
We go back to governance again.
You have to go back to governance. I mean, if you want me to fall in love with you, definitely you must have something that will spoil or that will spark the attraction within me. Secondly, it also goes to say that back to what you talked about orientation. Orientation in the sense that we must not leave it to the mass media alone. When you talk about grassroots mobilization and orientation, you need CBOs, community-based organizations, to get involved in it. You need the CDAs to get involved in it, and you need the religious groupings.
Are they making any traction, though?
For the traction, I don't know how to put the pegs to it, but I'm only saying that if you can get this grassroots organization to get involved in it, they have the tendency of pulling people out.
So we've got to find a way for them to get traction, because it is thought that they don't have traction. Excuse me, sir, I'm going to come straight back to you. Let me just bring in Joshua in IREWOLEDE, Ogun State. Good morning, sir.
Oh, good morning, Uncle Yori. How are you? And
very well. Thank you.
Your guest.
Thank you.
First, on the issue of military, I really don't see the militarization of election in Nigeria. I don't know why that is coming up. I really don't see that. And like Doctor said, please, nobody should ever imagine removing the military from rivers and all that. Please, we should not go there. We can define their role to say, provide support. When there is a need, you call them in. But please, that area is extremely volatile. And I want to say that when we talk about these stakes are high, let Doctor explain the stakes that are high to us. Money is becoming very difficult to share. I'm now aware that politics is about sharing money. So the ones that they used to give petty cobbles before are no longer satisfied. They now need a chunk of the money. That is the state that is getting so very high. If we are going to change things, we need to begin to reorientate ourselves, our people. Money is not God. Money is not God. In Nigeria, is killing us. Let's tell us. Values begin to change from material things to, having value for human life. Why do you kill another person because you want to live? And finally, our leadership, let's speak to the leadership. Whether they call them wiki or call them whoever, the issue of carrying cutlass to say kill somebody, our leaders are not mature. They should grow up and mature. That is important. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in, Joshua.
As I was saying, you see, the foundational problem of this country, especially what we are witnessing now, derives from the non-implementation of Chapter 2 of the Constitution, Directive Principle of State Policy. You see, and again, the judiciary is not alive to this responsibility. There's no judicial activism, to the extent that the judiciary has pronounced Chapter 2 as not justiciable. That is, you cannot go to court to enforce it. It is the responsibility of government to provide security. It is the responsibility of government to provide education. It is the responsibility of government to do so many things that they are not doing.
Well, none of this is going to happen between today and Saturday.
No,
none of this.
That means,
It's where we are at.
looking at
So
the
I
issues.
know we're looking at
again,
it.
when you talk about demilitarization or militarization, the military was also here in Lagos State. It was there in Ogun State. It was there in other parts of the country. Why should there be this problem, particularly in Rivers and Akwa Ibom? Because, as we say in chemistry, action and reaction are equal and opposite. You don't kill a military officer in America. You don't kill a police officer in any country, and you expect, you know how much it's been spent in training these people. I mean, it means you're attacking the state.
Exactly.
If you attack a policeman or a military man, you are attacking the state.
So when people say we need orientation to know what you've just said, this is where I have a problem.
Mr.
What orientation?
Orientation doesn't come in.
Sorry, I beg about that. I'll come straight to you. Adamu in Damaturu, good morning, sir. Thank you for holding on.
Okay, thank you. Uncle Yoru and your guest, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I just want to drop a piece of advice.
Sure.
On this forthcoming election.
Okay.
My advice is particularly to the super APC in control and the diminishing PDP.
Go on.
I want them to have a sort of peaceful election. Let them emulate and execute the spirit of sportsmanship. I.e., if you are winning, you win it honorably. And if you are losing, lose it honorably. If you lose, it doesn't mean that that is the end of your life. No, there is hope still. And if you win, it doesn't mean that you are on top of everybody.
Okay. All right.
Tomorrow is for everybody. So please let them conduct this election in a peaceful manner.
Okay. All right.
We love our country. We don't want anything like chaos and any disturbance in this country again. Please.
Thank you very much for calling in, Adamu, from YOBE, Damaturu in YOBE State. To return to you, and by the way, these, and I don't mean any disrespect, these moralizing, some of which we've done in studio here about this is the right thing. I mean, we have the whole Bible when we want to text on moralizing. We have the Quran, the Holy Quran. People still do everything opposite to that. So what I'm saying, and then people are talking about orientation, and this really concerns me because the orientation is going to, it will work, but not anytime soon. You can't expect that from one.
Our religious leaders are part of the problem.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
Mr. Yori, you see, peaceful election is not something we just wish for. There must be a concerted effort to make it work. And like I've told you, the security operative have a lot to do. If you have a security system that is complacent, you are going to continue to have this kind of...
if not compromised.
Compromise. You are going to have this system where we keep talking, going back, coming forth, and all of that. How can you, like he said, it is a crime to kill a security operative in any civilized communities because they will go out for you. The state will go out for you.
Where
you understand? So the thing now is that whoever you are putting there must be ready to live above board. Look at the CP in Kano State. Everybody is applauding the guy. Pre-election, they had crisis, some spark of crisis. Now, during the election, they had nearly zero crisis or zero attack. Post-election, they had zero attack. How did the man do it? You understand? I mean, if you want to enforce it fully and don't be part of the process. Because when you are part of the process and the people can see that you are part of the process, they will come out for you.
You know, I just wonder sometimes, and maybe it's sort of, if that's not too much of a contradiction in terms of sort of rhetorical wondering, how are people to take this, especially those that are concerned, with this whole election? How are they to take all of this in going into the election on Saturday? They're listening to it, but are we expecting any Saul to Paul conversions?
Well, I think the catalyst that is needed now is for the president to reaffirm, like he did before the election, that reduced the amount of ballot snatching, to reaffirm again and give directives.
Okay.
And it should dovetail. It should not be like the funeral ceremony of Julius Caesar, where Anthony was able to whip up sentiments. When the president says this, the governor should say this, the local government leaders should also say this, the ward leaders should say this. There must be harmony. There must be synchronization of ideas and thoughts and expectations. They must be able.
Which takes a hell of a lot of work.
No, it does not.
Doesn't it?
The president will broadcast to the nation, the governor, and it must be seen to be sincere and genuine, and the local government chairman too, the ward leaders too, the councillors.
But apart from the president and, arguably Professor Yemi Oshibajo, only those two have declared their assets, and everybody else is.
When I talk about assets,
no, I know, but the principle is that they are saying that it's not obligatory.
That's what I'm saying, I've always attacked.
It wasn't obligatory to the
I've always
president.
attacked the constitution of this country. That it is the most senseless thing we can ever think of. Yes, because the constitution is part of our problem.
Oh dear.
The constitution is part of our problem.
Oh dear. Well, so there you go. I mean,
yes, but I was talking about the immediate solution to March 23 rerun elections. I mean, say the president will know his stand. Then the governors also, all the governors will declare their stand. And the chairman of local government too, the councillors too, because they are the nearest to the people.
So this is
the
what
councillors
we need to,
and the ward leaders.
So this is what we need to.
Yes,
maybe
to talk to the people.
Maybe pray for.
And to hold
maybe
every one of them
for.
accountable and responsible.
Okay. Sorry we missed Mr. George. Sorry for missing your call. I don't know, it dropped while we're waiting to pick it up. But we've also run out of time. Mr. Adewale, your daily political affairs analyst, thank you very much for coming on. Chief Dr. Fasi Yusuf, as always, thank you very much for sharing your insights into these whole matters. And I guess we've got to keep our fingers crossed. It's not where we want it to be, but we will get there. We don't have a choice.
Inshallah.
We shall.
There
you go. You did both of them together. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.